Hello, welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue, and tonight we have that Harold is about to have an extended vacation from Meghan, so expect him to be smiley and happy as usual. Prince Harry's mini royal tour, Duke of Sussex, announces he'll travel to Singapore for a Centennial polo match next month, and he'll also take part in philanthropy summit in Tokyo. I mean, that's great. I want to be oppressed too, even if polo is not my thing. The idea of traveling around the world, literally around the world, is extremely appealing. But you know that it's always a good idea to know the rules, the customs, and culture of the city you are going to visit. Recently, in non royal news, we saw a good example of a TikToker who thought that she could scream at car rental workers in Dubai, the same she did at home in the US, and was facing 2 years in prison. You know that the Middle East don't mess around. I just mentioned this example because thanks to Spare, we already know what is Harry's favorite candy. And while he could get away with that in the UK or the USA, well, in Singapore, he could find himself with a one-way ticket to the afterlife. And that is something that I don't want at all. What would be the Royal Road without Harry's memes? That would be heartbreaking. So, Harry, if you're watching this, remember to leave the baby powder at home. Just make sure that you leave it in your secret place. You know how strong can Meghan's aspirations be. But now this is interesting. You remember Nacho, right? Perhaps Harry's best friend. And I say this from the fact that in months making videos of the sausage celebrities, I really don't remember any other friend worth mentioning. But, well, I could be wrong, and you are free to correct me. But what is interesting is that in a twist of events, they are going to play for opposing teams. Prince Harry will head up the Royal Salute Centre Valley team, while Argentinian player Nacho Figueras, who is also a Centre Valley ambassador, will play for the Singapore Polo Club team. I really don't know if this has a further meaning, but the only thing that I'd say is that if I was going to cross the Pacific Ocean to play, say, Counter-Strike, and my best friend is going to be there, I would like to be on his team. Just saying, because that's what makes sense is that being in the same team, you have better chemistry, better performance, and put on a greater show, which is ultimately what you want. Being in different teams will always make you a bit uneasy of crushing your opponent when your opponent is your best friend. But who am I to talk about friendships? My best friend is a Tamagotchi and it has died already 3 times. So, well, don't take my word for it. The organization also announced that both of them will take part in a summit discussing the power of sport, community, and philanthropy in Tokyo the day before the match. So, as I said, Harry is going to be a few days away from methane, so maybe it does some good for his well-being. But now that we mentioned traveling, it so happens that Travelist, the completely forgettable ecotourism firm, has announced that it is entering an incredibly exciting era with a new board of directors, but with no mention of the Ginger Winter whatsoever. You know that some say that there is never bad publicity, and I disagree. The wrong kind of publicity can literally destroy your career. If you don't believe me, just ask Amber Heard. If you can find her, that is. But, well, back to Travelist. PR expert Sean O'Meara, managing director of Manchester-based agency Essential Content, said the change of approach at Travelist could be due to the marketing difficulties presented by the negative publicity often faced by Harry. But sadly, these are not fresh news. This happened just 8 days after the New York chase that never was. So you can imagine that the people at Travelist needed to save face in one way or another and distance themselves from such a train wreck. But still, in the eyes of the Sausage Squad, the loyal fans of the Montecito Morons, they are perfect, just the way they are. But one needs to take into account the qualities of this select group. And Touche on Twitter shared a question asked on Quora that portrays that perfectly. What were Princess Meghan and Princess Diana doing when Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne? Neither were alive, was the obvious answer. I mean, these people is the reason shampoo has instructions. So to make it up for you in regards of having to read such nonsense, here's a puppy and a kitty trying to ride tiny bicycles. But regarding those Meghan fans, here's a friendly reminder that Meghan Markle was written out of Suits 1 year before Prince Harry engagement, creator says. You know, all the noise recently with Meghan and Suits becoming trending again, most watched show, etc. But that was never about Meghan. She was just a secondary character. And by the way, regarding those big numbers from Netflix, you need to know that from some years ago, all an episode of any show needs to be considered a view is 2 minutes of watch time. Yeah, literally 2 minutes. And this was already known since 2020 thanks to Wired magazine. So even if an episode of a show is 60 minutes, just by watching 2 minutes of it is enough to count as a view. So you can imagine that for the Sausage Squad, it would have been really easy to inflate the numbers of this series. And I would not be surprised that these kind of practices also happen in other streaming services such as Disney Plus. But also, if you want a good laugh, Omi Scovey has made it clear for those asking that he chose not to renew with Yahoo News in order to focus on new projects. Massively enjoyed my time with the company and its fantastic teams. I saw Megan Small on Twitter joking about who asked for this information. Well, at least he will have more time to write puff pieces for the Harkles, because I guess that is still his thing, right? And now I need to talk about Prince William. And I said that I need to talk about him because we also need to talk about veggie burgers, which was one of the initiatives boosted by the Earthshot Prize. And many of you already know my personal stance on plant-based meat, which I have no problem in tasting every now and then. I have eaten plant-based meat, and not going to lie, it can be pretty good. But the whole saving the earth thing, thanks to eating more broccoli, well, that's where the Royal Road draws a line in the sand. But I can understand William's initiative. At no point he's advocating that one should go flat out vegan, but having some diversity in our meals doesn't hurt either. In fact, I'm somewhat a walking contradiction because I have no problem in tasting bugs or insects. In fact, they can be quite tasty if you know how to cook or fry them correctly. But that's the thing, having a choice. Because if you try to take my ribeye steak away from me, may God have mercy on your soul. My Royal Rogues, it's my pleasure to create these daily videos for you. All you need to do to support my channel is hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you, and remember, much love and bliss.